Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to design your site in Here Is My Work. So we're over here on the dashboard again. If I go over to here and click Edit Website, it takes me straight in. So this is one I put together earlier. On the left, you've got the sidebar, which is where you can adjust all the settings. And on the right, you've got the preview of what the site looks like. So at the top, I can select my style. This changes the global settings all over the page. So you can edit the color, the typography, stuff like that all at the same time. So up at the top, this is where you can make it flexible or consistent. So if you want different sections, different colors, keep it as flexible. If you want them all to be the same with branded stuff, you keep that as consistent. So down here, I've got my brand color as green, but you can see if I change it around, it changes all the colors there. But I'm going to stick with green because that works quite well. I'm going to adjust the color just slightly so it's a little bit of a darker green. And that's my primary color, which I'm also going to make my accent color green so they're both the same. Below that, I've got my typography. This is where I can change the fonts of the site, but I've selected this font. And down here, I've got my page background. So if I wanted to change that to a different color, I can, but I'm going to stick with my white. The last thing in this style section is the buttons. So if I click on this, this shows me how I can edit this little button here or this one here in the header. So I've currently got it on auto, but let's click custom here and I can change the style. I can change if I want it to be more square or rounded. I'm going to stick with that. I can change the hover effect. So as I hover over it, it animates. And down the bottom, I've got the colors. So I've changed this to white now, but I could change that. Let's say I wanted that red. I can make it red. Let's stick with that. The next section is the header. This is the bar that goes along the top of your page here. So if I click on that, I can adjust how tall I want it to be, the color. I can adjust how my logo looks on there. If I wanted my company name, for example. But down the bottom, you've got this navigation, which you want turned on. So you can have your different pages here, which I'll show you in a second. If we head back, the section below this is called a hero. And this is the part everybody sees when they first click on your site. So it's important that this looks exactly how you want it. So if I click on this, I can adjust the picture. If I scroll down, I can adjust the different styles I can have it in. So if I wanted it as one block, I can have it there. But I quite like this split view. I can adjust the different layout of this split. So if I wanted it diagonal, or if I wanted a floating card, I can. But I quite like this modular style. I can also change the color of the background. So if I wanted that different color, I can adjust that. So if I go back up to the top, this is the style tab we're in now. But if I swap over to the content, this is how I can actually change what this is going to look like and what this says. So I can change my headline here. You can see I've got the headline, location, review badge, buttons. This is the headline, location, review badge, and buttons. So I'm going to adjust how all of that looks. I can change the spacing, but I'm quite happy with how that looks. So there's a lot of different customization options we've got in there. You just play with it until you're happy. Below that is the last main section we've got, and this is the trust banner. So if I click on this, I can adjust my different accreditations or add in any custom ones if I've got any that aren't on this list already. So again, I can adjust exactly how I like this if I want to adjust the spacing, the size of these accreditations, but I think they look quite nice when they're big blown up like that. So to add a section, you just click this button and you can see all the options we've added so that you can put in exactly what you want. Up the top, you've got the about section. If you want to add your jobs, your reviews, and your gallery, these are the most popular ones. But if you want to get a bit more detailed, there's a lot of options here to choose from. Here you've got the option to add a banner if you want. So this gets added right below your header and you can put specific messages on there like free quotes or available 24/7. So this is my main website sorted. Now let's add some sub pages. So if I click this button here, this shows me a navigation menu of all the different pages on my site. So these are also visible up here in the header. And you can see I've got lawn cutting and landscaping. Here I've got my services tab with lawn cutting and landscaping. But let's say I wanted to add a page, for example, areas we cover. So that adds that section to the top of the header here. And if you want to edit it, you can just click add section. And in this case, we'd want to add a map to it. So I click save. And now you can see that map's been added. But let's say I wanted to add another service to this drop down here. I can just click add a page. Let's put lawn care. Create a page. Now if I go back, you can see there's a little hand that pops up. And if I drag that into this services here, that instantly gets added to this drop down here. So that's a really simple way to just add some sub pages, and on those pages you can just go into a bit more detail about what you offer. So make sure to save this when you're done so that you don't lose any progress, and then let's go back. So the next section is your blog. So this way you can add specific articles to your page, and you can choose a different layout, whether you want them as cards or just a list. But if you click this write your first post button, this way you can put in a best lawns 2026. I can add a picture and I can add some content in here. And again, I can generate this with AI. This is what it's pumped out. I can click create post. So then that is on our blog section. So I can add this to my site if I want to, but in my case, I don't. But make sure to save it just so I've got the blog there if I ever need it. So now we've got the footer, and the footer is the little section right at the bottom of your website, and we can adjust it however we like, whether we want it to be a different color, if we want it to have a little less information, we can adjust the content however we like, but there are lots of different customization options there that you can play with. So the last thing down the bottom is SEO, and this is search engine optimization. It gives us a little score here and a few quick fixes which we can adjust in the settings so that we can optimize our page and rank higher in Google. We basically make it very easy for potential customers to find us, because when they search for a certain issue, we're going to be right there at the top when they search for it. So that's how you design a website in Here Is My Work. We've made it as easy as possible for you, and there's lots of customization to get it exactly how you like. But if you need any help at all, just reach out to the support team and we're happy to help.